Who am I that the highest King would welcome me? I was lost, but he brought me in. Oh, his love for me. Oh, his love for me. Who the Son sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God, yes I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God, yes I am. Free at last he has ransomed me, his grace runs deep. While I was a slave to sin, Jesus died for me. Yes, he died for me. Who the Son sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God, yes I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God, yes I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am who you say I am. Who the Son sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God, yes I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God, yes I am. Who the Son sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God, yes I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God, yes I am.
All right, thanks for being back again this week. It's good to have you. Good crowd here tonight, and we have been on this series of love does and love does. Been a great series on 1 Corinthians 13, the topic of love out of the Bible, and it's just been really, really good. And the singing has been awesome. And you're in for a treat tonight because Buster is with us tonight. The Deans have known Buster a long time, so that's great news. Randy has known Buster a long time, did youth ministry some together and that type of thing. And he was really thrilled to get him on our list. And I remember when I was in Tecumseh, in area wides and stuff, they always enjoyed what Buster had to say, and in a great way. He is a minister now at the Blanchard Church of Christ. He's been there since February of 2008. He received both his undergraduate and graduate degrees from OC. Buster and his wife Angie's not with us tonight, not feeling well, but they met at the South Yukon Church where the Deans were for a long time. And they, from there, he preached at Blanchard, or moved from Chandler to Blanchard to work with the church there, and has really enjoyed it. They have 2 adult children. One daughter, Kylie, and her husband, Josh Brown, live in Dallas-Fort Worth area. And then son, Nick, who is a senior at OSU. And Buster enjoys pickleball. Some of our seniors love that. I'd love to see You play, Buster. Turkey hunting. Any turkeys in here? Be careful, he might shoot you. And he loves to read. And he brought a stack of books. I don't know if he's going to read to us tonight, but I know that he's going to have something really life-changing, helpful, practical for us as we do this tonight. We'll have a couple of more songs, and then Buster will come up here and speak, and then I'll come back up and have a couple of announcements for you. So thanks for being here and join in.
Let's stand to sing these next two songs. When all I see is the battle, you see my victory. When all I see is the mountain, you see a mountain move. And as I walk through the shadows, your love surrounds me. There's nothing to fear now, for I am saved with you. So when I fight, I'll fight on my knees with my hands lifted high. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. Every fear I lay at your feet. I'll sing through the night. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. And if you are for me, who can be against me? For Jesus, there's nothing impossible for you. When all I see are the ashes, you see the beauty. When all I see is the cross, God, you see the empty tomb. So when I fight, I'll fight on my knees with my hands lifted high. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. Every fear I lay at your feet. I'll sing through the night. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. An almighty fortress, you go before us. Nothing can stand against the power of our God. You shine in the shadows. You win every battle. Nothing can stand against the power of our God. An almighty fortress, you go before us. Nothing can stand against the power of our God. You shine in the shadows. You win every battle. Nothing can stand against the power of our God. Our God. So when I fight, I'll fight on my knees with my hands lifted high. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. Every fear I lay at your feet. I'll sing through the night. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. You were despised, you were rejected, Lord, those who pass by, even averted their gaze from the side. Such was the suffering you bore for us. Led like a lamb to the slaughter, you spoke not a word, but chose to be silent, though you did no wrong, nor was deceitfulness found in you. but chose to be silent though you did no wrong, nor was deceitfulness found in you. Yet by your wounds our salvation has come, yet by your suffering our freedom is won. For God has highly exalted your name. He has enthroned you on high. Jesus, the name above all names. God has highly exalted your name. He has enthroned you on high. Jesus, the name above all names. You were despised, you were rejected, Lord, those who passed by, even averted their gaze from the sight. Such was the suffering you bore for us. Please be seated.
That's good.
You know when the sound guy's telling you, not the sound guy, Jared, telling you, Jason telling you what to do and you're like, and you're not listening? Yeah, that's what happened. Sorry, Jason. It's good to see you. That's not the beginning that I was hoping for, but it fits me. I'm so grateful for this church, this good church. So many connections with this church throughout the different periods of my life. Yukon, Chandler, Blanchard. I went to Oklahoma Christian. I never worshiped in Edmond. I worshiped at Wilshire. I actually worshiped one time here that was quite memorable, and that was the morning after Angie and I got married. We got married on a Saturday. We spent the night in bed and breakfast. I think it's no longer here, but it was in Edmond. And we woke up that next morning and we came and we worshiped with the congregation here. I don't remember a thing about the sermon. I don't remember much about the singing. But I remember sitting there and we kind of were getting in there a little bit late. And I remember sitting there and I watched a guy get up from the other side of the auditorium from us in the front. And I watched him walk. And as he walked, he kept getting closer and closer to us. And there was announcements going on. There was stuff that was happening. There was perhaps even a song that was being sung. And he came right to us and he knelt down beside us and he said, "I noticed you're new here." And he said, "I just want you to know we're so glad that you're here and we would invite you to come to Bible class." And I've thought, and that's been almost 30 years ago, and I've thought, what an amazing reception. What an amazing culture to have in a congregation that big, someone who says, oh, there's someone who I need to welcome. I've thought about through the years, I want to be more like that, and I've always appreciated that about this church. That's my memory of you. Very welcoming church, and I hear great things about this church, honestly. As you've been studying how love is and love does, you've talked about how love is not something that you feel, but it's something that you do. That's probably a phrase that I've used in every wedding that I've ever done, because it is a truthful phrase. And the topic that I've given is love pursues truth, from 1 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 6, which says, "Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth." Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. And so I have some questions. What does this guy know about rejoicing? Honestly, is this a face of someone preaching to you about rejoicing? No, this is the face of someone who preaches about how love endures all things. That's this guy. Or maybe this guy's wife, as I continue to tell you more about this picture. Out of all the speakers this summer, and Naomi was good to point this out to me. She's like, "You're the only one that's not smiling, Buster." That's crazy. How am I supposed to teach you about rejoicing when that's the picture? And I get it. Some people may have chosen to watch World Cup soccer. Some people may have been scared off by this picture. I'm not going to hear that guy say anything about rejoicing. Let me tell you the truth about this picture, okay? The truth about this picture is Randy asked for a headshot. I didn't have a headshot, okay? There's a picture on our website. That's a family picture. He said he can make it work, but I just thought I didn't want to be the oddball out. You see the irony there? That I'm the one that wasn't smiling. And I thought, my wife is a photographer. Problem solved. She's very talented. She's a great photographer. So I asked her if she would take my headshot. And she said very excitedly, "Are you going to wear your new suit?" Now, here's the truth about my new suit. That's the only suit I've ever bought in my entire life. I'm 52 years old. I've been preaching for, I don't know, a long time. And I've had suits given to me. I've inherited my dad's suit. But this is the first suit that I bought, and I bought it because our daughter got married. And my wife said, "You're not going to wear one of your old suits at your daughter's wedding." I said, "Okay, fine." And so I put on the suit. Well, actually, that's not the truth either. The truth is I had the coat, and I had the shirt, and I had the tie, but I had a pair of shorts on. Because a man has to draw the line somewhere. And that was really a point of contention with my wife. As a photographer, that limited what she could do. She asked, why didn't I have my whole suit on? And I just said, I don't want to. And this is me being stubborn, by the way. This picture. Do you see the furrow in my brow, that line? I get that line in the middle. That's not rejoicing. That's me. Just being a stubborn, grouchy man. But honestly, the truth about that picture is that's really not me anyways. Because despite my stubbornness and how I wasn't cooperating with my wife, she made me look better than I actually am. I mean, you've experienced that already, unless you can't see me from this distance. She used Photoshop. But she took away several of my blemishes. She took away a lot of my wrinkles. The truth is, that's not even me. I'm a happy guy, which feels weird having to say that. And also, I don't look that good because she made me look better. And I thought that was ironic, that I'm supposed to talk about love rejoicing with the truth, and I'm not happy, and that's not a true picture of me. What is the truth? What is the truth? As we think about that, I just thought we'd brainstorm just a little bit. I put some ideas up there on the screen, and I want to just walk you through some of this. And my goal in this is not to be antagonistic. My goal is not to be an irritant. I definitely don't want to embarrass the people who know me, but I want you to think about some of these things. And first of all is, what's the truth on the news? Where do you get your news? Can you trust it? Is it fair and balanced? Is the most trusted name in news? Is it live, local, late breaking? Or is it propaganda? No, you say, well, I don't get my news in any of those places. I get my news on the internet because everything on the internet is trustworthy, right? And when you think about news on a larger scale, a longer scale, you start to think about history. And you realize history, the history that you're taught, may not be trustworthy. Before I lived in Oklahoma, I lived in Texas. I grew up in Texas. I never left Texas till I was 12 years old. Traveled a lot in Texas, but that's where my home was. That's where my heart kind of still is. But I've been in Oklahoma a long time. And Texans will talk about Texas in a way that's honestly not historically true. That's probably, I can admit that because I've been in Oklahoma a long time. I mean, we talk about how Texas was a republic, right? Everything I've read is it was horrible. Like it just was barely being held together. And so history is spun in certain ways. And if you think about the fact that history overall is written by the victors, what is the truth? Or is it just something that's been spun? Here's another idea. We just finished a month in our country when people are encouraged to be proud of their sinful behavior. And corporations pander to that message. And people lie. And they say, Jesus never talked about these type of things. He sure did. In Matthew chapter 19, Jesus quoted Genesis, and he said, haven't you read, at the beginning, the Creator made them male and female. And for this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two will become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but they are one flesh. What God has joined together, let no one separate. We endure a month of lies. But it wasn't that way in the beginning. And speaking of the beginning, a narrative has been formed about Yahweh, our Creator, the Creator of everything. And he's been written out of his own story when it comes to what happened in creation. And science often is the tool that's used to push the false narrative. Evidence is interpreted through a humanistic worldview, and it props up a religion that believes in a Big Bang and billions of years, and the lie that mutations create life rather than destroy it. And speaking of mutations, the people that we were supposed to trust lied about the origin of COVID, the effective protocols of COVID, the mortality rates of COVID, and the vaccines. What is the truth? Let's lighten it up a little bit. You like shopping? Yes. Just a click. You don't even have to go out anymore. Will purchasing one more item give you the happiness and fulfillment that you are seeking? Or is that another lie? Politics. I'm not going to say anything about politics, but if you believe there's truth in politics, you are on my personal prayer list. Religion. That's much closer to home. Much closer to home. It's been used to manipulate people for centuries. There's been deception, there's been distortion of God's truth. Religion has been a tool of evil humans. There's too many examples to name. I went back and forth on sharing a current example. I'm going to go ahead and share it. It's come to my awareness lately that the promise that was made to Abraham and was fulfilled to Abraham and to the Jews in the Old Testament has been misinterpreted. And Christians, followers of Jesus in churches in America, have been encouraged to give money to the political state of Israel, using the mantra, I will bless those who bless Israel. You've heard of that, right? It doesn't happen in our churches, but it happens in churches. And the horrible thing is that money that's given by followers of Jesus has been used to cause suffering and sometimes even kill other followers of Jesus in Palestine. That's evil, and it's based on a lie. And because of all these reasons, many have just said, I don't know what the truth is. I can't figure it out. We hear statements like my truth, and the only verse that someone seems to know, that a non-church going person seems to know in the Bible is, do not judge, or you will be judged. And morals are ambiguous, and what's good for one person may not be good for another, and truth is lost in the mix. And I talk to so many folks who are just frustrated, and I talk to folks who sometimes are in despair trying to understand what is truth and what can I trust. And church, I think that's exactly how Satan likes it. Because Satan is the father of lies. John chapter 8 and verse 44, lying is his native tongue. He's the ruler of this present age. John chapter 14 and verse 30. He lied on page 3 of your Bible to Eve, and he hadn't stopped lying since. Paul would write to these same Corinthians in 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 4. It says, the God of this age has blinded the minds of unbelievers so they cannot see the light of the gospel that displays the glory of Christ, who is the image of God. Satan lies. The prince of this world lies, and he enjoys the results of those lies and a muddying and a distortion of the truth. And the biggest lie that he says is that you can have a freedom which honestly enslaves you. Go back and read Romans chapter 1 if you would. Read Romans chapter 1, verses 18 through 32. Read about how they and we also exchanged the truth about God for a lie and the repercussions of that. I did bring some books. I would suggest a couple of them. I'm going to reference some. This book is by John Mark Comer. It's called Live No Lies. Again, as any book except the Bible, you're going to have to use discernment. But it's recognize and resist the three enemies that sabotage your peace. In this book, John Mark Comer talks about our three enemies: the devil, the flesh, and the world. And it works like this. The devil uses deceptive ideas that play to the distorted desires of our flesh and are then normalized in a sinful society or the world. I'm going to say that again. The devil uses deceptive ideas that play to the disordered desires of our flesh and are then normalized in a sinful society or the world. Tell me if you don't see that play out every day. And especially when you talk about sexual sins, those are sins that break down families. The family is God's building block of society. And so why wouldn't Satan attack God's building block? Through sexual lies. Ultimately, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 12 says that these lies will destroy you. All will be condemned who have not believed the truth and have not delighted in wickedness. Excuse me, I read that wrong. All will be condemned who have not believed the truth but have delighted in wickedness. So far, you probably think, yeah, this isn't the guy to talk about rejoicing. I feel depressed. I thought this was about rejoicing in the truth. They got the wrong guy. Okay, so now it's time for the good news. Jesus is the truth, amen? That's the good news. You can get to where if you focus on all that other stuff, you can get despair, you can have despair, you can get despondent, you can get frustrated. Church, I'm going to tell you, focus on the fact that Jesus is the truth. Put your energy and your attention there. He is the truth. John chapter 14 and verse 6. Grace and truth come through Jesus. John chapter 1 and verse 17. He is full of grace and truth. You see, sometimes where we mess that up is we're full of truth, but not full of grace. Or we're full of grace, but we're not full of truth. And Jesus was full of both. His word is truth. John chapter 8 and verse 45. John 17 and verse 17. And here's the thing you can rejoice in. You know him. You know him. You have his word. You believe him. He's changed your life. You can rejoice in his truth. The truth of Jesus, unlike the lies of Satan that promise freedom and enslave you, the truth of Jesus sets you free. Has anybody in the Edmond church been set free by Jesus? I know I have. John chapter 8 and verse 32. In a world that is starving for truth, in a world that is starving to be set free from Satan's lies, you know it. You have had it revealed to you. You've believed it. You've experienced it yourself. You've been set free by the truth of Jesus, and that's worth rejoicing in. So let's take that and let's go back into the original context, which is what's the problem in Corinth? What's going on? I'm sure you've done that in some of the other sermons, but I think it fits to go back and apply a concept back in its text. And so what's going on? Well, some people will say, well, it's division or it's immorality, right? You've studied Corinth multiple times. The church is divided, or there's gross immorality there. And division shows itself in a number of ways. They're following different teachers. They're following different teachings. They're suing one another in pagan courts. They have chaos in their worship assemblies as they step on each other with their spiritual gifts. Those are all ways that this division is seen. And then there's immorality. There's a man who is having incestuous relationships, and the church is accepting that. They think that's a good thing to accept it. There's an old saying that says, be open-minded, but not so much that your brains fall out. And that is what they seem to have done, to just accept what the pagans wouldn't even accept. And some of them are involved in pagan immorality with the temple prostitutes. And so I think most people would say there's division, there's immorality, but that's really not the problem. I believe those are symptoms of the problem, and the true problem is selfishness. Why is there division? Because they're selfish. Why is there immorality in church in Corinth? Because they're selfish. And as you've been studying all summer, and we have to be reminded of over and over of these great truths, love is not selfish. Love is not selfish. And when you get the love right, then these problems go away. These problems can be done away with. Selfless love does not rejoice with immorality. Let's think about that as we talk about that immorality. There's another book that I would suggest. It's a little more challenging read. It's called Live Not by Lies. It's a manual for Christian dissidents by Rob Dreher, D-R-E-H-E-R. I hope I'm saying that right. But this book is written basically from the perspective and with the knowledge of those Christians who suffered under communism. And it takes their stories and their insights and helps American Christians to know how to react to upcoming persecution, potential persecution. And in this book, when it talks about not living by lies, there's this quote, which I enjoy. It's by Maria Wittner. She's a hero of the 1956 Hungarian uprising against Soviet occupation. She says this: we live in a world of lies, whether we want it or not. That's just the case. But you shouldn't accommodate it. You'll be surrounded by lies. You don't have a choice. Don't assimilate to it. It's an individual decision for each person. If you want to live in fear, or if you want to live in freedom of the soul, if your soul is free, then your thoughts are free, then your words are going to be free. The truth is, selfish love just goes along to get along. That's really what it does. It's self-preservation that's disguised as compassionate care for others. Selfless love does not rejoice with immorality. Selfless love rejoices with God's moral truth. It gets excited about God's truth, the good things from God. In this book by John Mark Comer, Dr. Larry Hurtado says that there are 5 elements of the early church that set them apart from the Roman Empire. I'm not going to encourage you to write down all the words I say. I probably would have done that in the beginning. That would have been a good idea. Write down these 5 things. Make a mental note. This is what the early church was known for. Number 1, the church was multiracial and multi-ethnic with a high value for diversity, equity, and inclusion. The church was multiracial, multi-ethnic, with a high value for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I would say definitions matter. That's not how those last 3 things have been misdefined. Number 2, the church was spread across social economic lines as well. There was a high value for caring for the poor. Those with extra were expected to share with those with less. The church was spread across social economic lines, known for that. Number 3, the church was staunch in its active resistance to infanticide and abortion, valuing life. Number 4, it was resolute in its vision of marriage and sexuality as between one man and one woman for life. In a Roman culture that was horrific. The church stood for one man and one woman for life. And number 5, it was nonviolent, both on the personal level and on a political level. Those are 5 things that this Dr. Larry Hurtado says that the early church is known for. Love of fellow humans, compassion, sharing, valuing all life, purity, peace. Those are powerful moral truths that are from God. Those are what we are about as a church. Those are what we rejoice in as a church. They are truths from God. They're the light that overcomes the darkness. You have been told, I don't know how old you are, I'm 52. I have been told every single opportunity to vote that this is the most important election in your lifetime. Anybody ever been told that? And the things I vote for, thinking is going to make a difference, don't make a difference. These things, God's truths, change our community. God's truths change our state. God's truths change our country. God's truths change our world. We rejoice in God's truths and in the power that's in it. Selfless love rejoices with God's moral truth. We speak the truth. Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 15, speak the truth in love. We live the truth. 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verses 9 through 11 has a whole list of all these people who won't be in the kingdom of God. It's a horrific list. Read it sometime. And then it says this, and such were some of you. But you've been washed, you've been sanctified, you've been justified through Jesus. Listen, when we speak, we're not speaking like we're perfect. We speak because we've been freed from the lies of this world. We've been shown a better way. And with the help of God's Spirit who lives in us, we are living that way. And so I would say to you, when it comes to rejoicing in the truth, and especially in this idea of morality, rejoice with the gifts that God has given you. Rejoice with the gift of marriage. Rejoice with the gift of children. I had a conversation last night playing pickleball with a man who has 9 children. Okay, let's pause for a second. The reason I play pickleball is because I can't play soccer anymore, because my knees are too bad, and I can't play basketball anymore. Yes, I'm in that senior group that Kevin spoke about. But I'm playing pickleball with this guy, and he has 9 children. He and his wife have 9 children. And you know what he said? They are a blessing from God. They are my inheritance. And I said, you are blessed. When's the next one on the way? He said, I think we're done. Why don't we get excited about that? Why don't we rejoice in that, in marriage, in children, rejoicing with the freedom that comes from living according to God's morals? That's something to get excited about. Rejoice in forgiveness that we have in Jesus when we don't live up to his standards. Selfless love lives the truth and rejoices in the truth. Let's also apply it to the aspect of division, because that was a problem in the church. I hear the churches in Edmond have good relationships. I'm grateful for that. One thing that I'm most proud about at the church in Blanchard is there's never been a church split in Blanchard. Not because there hasn't been opportunity for that, but because they've had good leadership that have led them in wise ways. And so let's talk about how selfless love deals with division. It rejoices in the unity of the cross. Ephesians chapter 4, 6 through 4, there's one body, one spirit, just as you were called to one hope when you were called. One Lord, one faith, one baptism, one God and Father of all, who is over all and through all and in all. I'll say this, and I know this is what you got to believe. All who have obeyed the gospel, who've been saved by the grace of Jesus Christ through faith, have been added to his church. You believe that, right? It doesn't have to be in our building. I sure hope not. I was baptized in a river. If you obeyed the gospel, if you've been saved by grace through faith, Jesus has added you to his church. That's undenominational Christianity. And that's what our world needs. Our world doesn't need more division. Our world needs unity. Our world desperately needs that unity. And so we rejoice in the unity of the cross. We don't rejoice with division. What gives us the right to divide what Christ has united? What gives us the right to divide what Christ has reconciled to himself? I'll say that just as lies come from Satan, division comes from Satan. The lies in the garden separated Adam and Eve. The lies in the garden separated Adam and Eve from their Creator. We need to rejoice in the power of unity. We need to rejoice in having Jesus in common with other folks. In the book, Live Not by Lies, there is this statement, which I find very telling. We desperately need to throw off the chains of solitude and find the freedom that awaits us in fellowship. The testimony of anti-communist dissidents is clear. Only in solidarity with others can we find the spiritual and communal strength to resist. The longer we remain isolated in a period of liberty, the harder it will be to find one another in time of persecution. We must see in our brothers and sisters not a burden of obligation, but the blessing of our own freedom from loneliness, suspicion, and defeat. I hope you realize what a source of strength the church is. What a blessing the church is. I've been involved in some church conflict. It was horrific. I'll say I think that most church conflict is personal preferences that's wrapped up as theology. I've heard a saying somewhere, in matters of faith, unity. In matters of opinion, liberty. And in all things, charity. Or love, the very thing you're studying this whole summer. And so selfless love allows the unity of the gospel to overcome our differences. Your love for Jesus draws you closer to each other. One thing that is unique, I think, maybe I'm just at the point in my life where I'm more aware of it at the Church of Blanchard, is the diverse backgrounds where people come from. And we have an opportunity to not agree because of that diversity. But we got this love for Jesus that keeps pulling us back together. There's hardly any room for arguing at the foot of the cross. Individually, we are weak. Together, we are strong. And so I would encourage you to rejoice when it comes to this idea of division and unity. Rejoice in the blessing that is the Lord's church. Some of you have been in the Lord's church so long that you've kind of taken it for granted. You've forgotten what a blessing it is. Such a blessing. I'm so grateful for the Lord's church. I'm so grateful for my church family. Rejoice in the blessing that is the Lord's church. Rejoice in the gift of fellowship with each other. I know that fellowship typically means you're going to eat something, right? Is that how y'all do it in Edmond? We're having a fellowship. What's to eat? It's not always that. Some of the sweetest fellowship that I've ever had is in some of the worst times of my life. When my brother-in-law was passing away from cancer, when we were living in Chandler, and my wife was trying to spend as much time as she could with him in Texas before he passed, that church supported us in sweet fellowship, prayed for us during one of the worst times of our life. It's not all about food. It's about being together. It's about suffering together, and you can rejoice in that. It's about working together. That's sweet fellowship as well. And so rejoice in the gift of fellowship with each other, and then rejoice in the opportunity to love each other. and to invite others to experience the love of Jesus like you have. Rejoice in the opportunity to love each other. Again, I'm grateful you're here. I know you're here because you love each other and because you love the Lord. And my prayer is that that will continue to grow and that you'll continue to rejoice in that unity that comes through the gospel. And so the verse is, love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. What a challenge that we have. But you're up to it. Rejoice. You're on truth's side. The world needs to see you as happy warriors, rejoicing in his truth, holding forth the light, loving each other, walking in his footsteps. Let's pray together. Father, thank you so much for everything you bless us with. God, I thank you for this good church family here. God, I thank you for their love for you. I thank you for their love for each other. And Father, in a world that is inundated with lies and deception, God, I'm so grateful for your truth. I'm so grateful for your word that we have, that leads us, that guides us, that is a beacon for us in the darkness. God, I'm grateful for your son Jesus, who is the truth, for his victory over death, that has freed us from the bondage of the lies of Satan. Father, I ask that you help this church and that you help all of us as your children to rejoice in your truth. Help us not to buy into, agree with, certainly not participate in the lies of Satan, but help us to hold forth your truth as the answer. And Father, we pray that you would help us to do that in a joyful way, in a way that draws other people to your Son and to the freedom they can experience in his truth. I pray your richest blessings on this church family. I pray you continue to use them mightily in your kingdom. Help them to continue to love each other, to grow in that love more and more, following the footsteps of Jesus. I pray these things in his precious name. Amen.
Thank you, Buster. Thanks for the challenge. Thanks for helping us focus on Jesus as the truth. And thank you for encouraging us in so many ways. I have a couple of announcements. One thing, some things I want to make you aware of. There is a VBS tribal leader meeting following this time. At 8:15, they're going to meet in the fellowship hall right over here. So if you are planning on being a tribal leader and you heard about that meeting, that's where the meeting is going to be. But before we do that, fellowship has to involve cookies. You can do it without food, but it just spices it up a little bit to have some cookies. And we have some great cookies out here. We encourage you to hang around. If this is the first time you've been with us, please stay just long enough, at least, for us to meet you. But we'd love for you to stay for a long time and just become a regular part of this body of people who love truth, who love one another. And we spread the love of Jesus. We try to teach each other how to love like Jesus. So thanks for being here tonight. But cookies that direction. You guys know the routine. Thanks for being here. You're sent.